For my project, I will demonstrate how to set up and how to use 3 different fishing techniques. The first technique I will go over is the drop shot technique. Here is a drop shot rig. The second technique I will go over is jigging. Here is a jig rig. And the last technique I will go over is the 3-way technique. And this is a 3-way rig. Drop shotting is very effective for smallmouth or largemouth bass in fresh water. Jigging is great for panfish such as bluegill in fresh water. And the 3-way rig is great for catfishing in fresh water. They can all be used in creeks, lakes, reservoirs, or rivers. The first technique I will go over is drop shotting. Here I will explain how to set up the drop shot rig. So the drop shot rig is a finesse technique predominantly used for catching bass. A drop shot rig will often catch fish even when reaction baits won't do the trick. Now I will show how to set up the drop shot rig. So first off, you're going to want to take your line, get your hook, thread the line through the hook, give about a foot from the end of the line, maybe a little more. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the fisherman's knot, just like this. Then you twist that. Then you get the end of the line, put it through that loop, then bring the end of the line and bring it through this big loop. Then you just tighten that up and pull it down. So now you have your hook set up. Then what you're going to want to do is tie the weight to the very end using the same knot. So you twist, thread the line through, and thread the line through again. And then you have this part set up. All you have to do at this point is attach the lure of your choice, which in this case will be this green worm lure. Insert from the top, come out right here, push that up, and then put it through again, and then your rig is set up. So the materials you'll need for making a drop shot rig is 6 to 10 pound monofilament line. You'll also need hooks. I prefer using circle hooks. Then you'll need drop shot weights. It can just be 1/4 ounce weights, just like these. And then the last thing you'll need is some bait. You can use artificial lures, just like fake worms, or you could use live bait. Here I set up a drop shot rig. So first off, I have a circle hook set up right here, tied to the line with a green lure worm on that. And then about a foot down the line I have my weight, which is a 1/4 ounce weight. So when you're actually using it while fishing, the first step would be to cast it out, and then the second step would be to retrieve it slowly and to make quick shaking motions with the rod to get movement in the bait. Then third, if you feel a bite, you want to tug the rod in a sideways movement, quick sideways movement, to set the hook in the fish's mouth. And once you hook the fish, you don't want to try to reel it in too fast since you have light line on it. And your line might snap if it's a bigger fish. After you land the fish and you get it off the hook, you check your knots and hook, and then you can cast it back out and repeat. Some tips for when you're using the drop shot rig are if you're using fluorocarbon line, which costs more, it's crystal clear and it has no stretch, so it's actually the ideal line for drop shotting. Also, once you get to a good drop shotting spot, you can start to experiment with casting out and dragging the rig back and fishing it over brake lines and other kinds of structures. Also, you don't have to tie hook directly to the line. You can add a barrel swivel, which looks like this, and you can extend a piece of line and hook approximately 2 to 4 inches from the swivel. A quick warning about using the drop shot rig is casting a drop shot rig can be dangerous, so be careful and don't try it if you don't have plenty of fishing experience. Since the weight and hook are separated, it's easy to hook your partner or yourself if you don't watch out. The next technique I'm going to go over is jigging. So some basics about jigging. Jigging is one of the most active fishing methods. Jigs come in all shapes and sizes and colors, and they can be used with or without live bait. Many spoons are designed for jigging. Here's an example of a spoon. So these are good for jigging because they flutter and they fall, enticing a fish. Soft plastic worms such as these are also good for jigging. Feather combo jigs, also called bucktails, which I have on here. These are also great for jigging. Painted lead-headed jigs are also good, such as this one. Now I will demonstrate how to set up for jigging. Here I have a bucktail jig, similar to this one in a different color. So you want to tie a fisherman's knot, feed it through the hole, and twist it around. Put it through this loop. Tighten that up. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you have a light jig on the end and it's not casting out far and it's not sinking deep enough for the water that you're trying to fish in, then you can add extra weight. Here I have a little split shots. They're little weights where you can just open the end of it and you can just apply it on with pliers, just like this. Put the line in the mouth of the split shot and close it. And you can do that 2 or 3 times, however many, to get it heavier, to let you cast farther, and to help it sink deeper. So the steps when you're using the technique: cast out and let your jig hook sink to the bottom. Count a few seconds or wait until you feel the jig hit the bottom. Snap or pop your wrist and rod tip up quickly a short distance. Let the lure drop back to the bottom. You can jig up and down, side to side, or up and down and sideways. Reel down a little bit to keep the line tight in case of a strike, and then you repeat that. The last technique I'm going to go over is the 3-way rig technique. This rig is for catching catfish mainly. It's a really popular rig. It doesn't matter if you're targeting big catfish or just any catfish. This rig is effective and efficient. This rig is effective for catfish, especially because It sits on the bottom and catfish are bottom feeders. It's effective for anchored fishing or drift fishing, and it will work for all three species of catfish in lakes, reservoirs, and rivers. Here I have the three-way rig. First thing is the three-way swivel. On the top swivel is where your fishing line to your rod will be connected. Attached to the three-way swivel is about 8 inches down, a ½ ounce weight, and then about a foot down is my circle hook. Now I'll show what you need to make this rig. So first off, you're gonna want like around 20-pound fishing line for your leader to your hook. The line to your weight can be lighter line since the fish won't be fighting against that. The next thing you'll need are the actual three-way swivels. You can buy these at like Bass Pro Shop or Dick's Sporting Goods. Then you'll need your weight. I use ½ ounce sinkers. And your hook, which I have circle hooks. Circle hooks are good because it's easier for the fish to get hooked on, and you don't have to set the hook as hard, and also they're easier to get out and the fish don't swallow them too deep. So once you have the rig all set up and you're ready to fish, what you're going to need is some bait on the hook. You can use live bait or worms, you know, or you can use like store-bought bait. Here I have power bait for catfish, liver flavored. So you grab like a little dough ball, and then what you do is you just feed it through the center of the hook, and it's as easy as that. After this, all you have to do is just cast the rig out, let it sit, keep your line taut, and then you wait for a bite.